An invitation to philosophy of education, realism. Here are the objectives. After reading this chapter, students are expected to: number 1, describe the relationship of philosophy in education. Number 2, explain what philosophy of education is and its relevance. And number 3, acquire a clear understanding regarding the different philosophical systems relevant to philosophy of education. And now we go against it. Realism. Like idealism, realism is also one of the oldest philosophies. But if idealism dates back into Plato, realism, on the other hand, can be traced to his most famous student, Aristotle. Although this is the case, Aristotle veered away from some of his mentor's teachings. Plato emphasizes the importance of ideas over and above material things. Aristotle and the rest of the realists agree on the thesis of independence, which simply states that value, reality, and knowledge exist independently of our minds, and that ideas are the only real. So, if Plato will analyze an apple, he will say that the idea of the apple is more real than the apple that he is touching and tasting, because the idea cannot change no matter what happens, unlike the material apple that is subject to various change. Here we can picture Aristotle arguing against his teacher that although he has a point, we should not take the material things for granted, because studying the particulars, such as the color and the shape of the apple, would take us to the universal ideas, or the in Aristotelian term, forms. Type of realism. Religious realism. Much of these doctrines rely on Thomas Aquinas, was greatly influenced by Aristotelian philosophy. Its central teaching is that human beings are born with an immortal soul. Therefore, the aim of religious realist education is the development of the soul. For religious realists, matter will not be considered as important if it does not lead to something beyond itself, that whenever we study nature, it will lead to our understanding of God, because when God created the world out of nothing, he put himself into the world, giving proper order, design, and purpose. For Aquinas, this is our primary purpose, to know God. Number 2, secular realism or scientific realism opposes religious realism. Instead of focusing on the spiritual realm. Secular realists like to deal mostly on the sensory world or the tangible world. Their manner of understanding the material world is through an inquiry or approach which scientific. Francis Bacon, considered one of the fathers of modern philosophy, before people relied solely on rational thought as method of arriving at knowledge or deduction. Bacon thinks that although reason proves to be very helpful, it also produces false concepts such as mermaids, leprechauns, and so on. Francis Bacon, John Locke, and the rest of the secular realists suggest that to decide which ideas or concepts are true, they should publicly verify this through the use of our senses or experimentation. If such cannot be proved, then this will remain as hypothesis only and not as truth. Secular realists also advance the study of science and promote the use of scientific method. This is geared towards the basic idea of human survival. Herbert Spencer, a British philosopher and sociologist who developed the evolutionary theory that influenced Charles Darwin, places self-preservation as the primary goal of education. With this, technical schools put a lot of emphasis on the study and advancement of science and technology for the main purpose of survival. Realists also give importance to the practical aspect of education, the development of moral and character of the individual. Locke says that education be a moral education and that good character is far superior to intellectual training. Virtue is the health of the soul. The aim of education is to produce a healthy, virtuous person. As a method of education, secular realists maintain that to properly understand the world, we must first understand the facts. They also give importance to the method of arriving at these facts through critical reason aided by observation and experimentation. For the curriculum, realists approve of practical and useful studies such as reading, writing, and ethics, which supplementary studies in physical activities like dancing and fencing, because Locke believes that the kids should also exposed to sun and air. This balance of cognitive and physical activities would likely result to a complete person, which also affirmed by Locke. The role of the teacher for the realist is to present materials in systematic and organized way. They should also promote the idea that one can use clearly defined criteria in making judgments about art, economics, politics, and science. But most importantly, since the very idea of education is the production of a virtuous person. Acknowledgement. Contents taken from Exploring the Philosophical Terrain, edited by Lenny D.I.R. Garcia, published by C&E Publishing Incorporated, 2013. Thank you.